Monday, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. This was on Friday after rookie minicamp. D'Amico and Kamari Lassiter and Blake Fisher all met with the media. And D'Amico talked about explaining how easy it is to explain the culture of the Houston Texans just by pointing out one person.
It's really a huge advantage having young guys. Our draft class from last year and the year before, we have a really solid group of young players, right? Who they know the way, they know how it should look, they know what the standard looks like, and so it's funny. I put up a picture of Will Anderson in our room. Say, you guys want to understand our culture and what we're about, right? Follow 51, right? That's what it looks like, and for me to be able to say that, right, it's not me having to say it with words. It's like, just watch the way 51 works and you'll see what a Houston Texans culture is all about.
Yeah, it makes it easy on the coach, man. That's, I mean, I think that's, I don't know what % of the reason, but like that's a huge reason why you give up first-round picks and second-round picks and move up and go get Will Anderson. I mean, that was it.
Well, it is. I think this is the part that, again, a lot of times people are skeptical of any talk of culture because every coach talks about it, and then a lot of times coaches talk about it, and then the first thing they do is draft the guy in the top 5 who is not the epitome of all the cultural things that they talk about. And it's hard sometimes when you're trying to tell the young guys how much you care about culture and how much you care about doing things the right way, and then you have like a Jadeveon Clowney go number 1 overall. Like, all right, well, coach, wait a second. How about this guy that's not acting the way that you claim, like all the motivational posters and everything say we need to act? It's like it's clear hypocrisy. So a lot of coaches talk about it, and then they do the complete opposite. I think that with Will Anderson, part of the reason they felt so good about spending as much as they did to trade up for him was that the word of mouth on him was so good from so many places. Going back to high school, when his high school coaches had to hold him out of practice because he would screw up every drill,
would dominate,
or
yeah.
he would go too hard, like all these things. It's like that stuff really matters, I think, when you're trying to establish it. Now I would go on, and I think immediately what some people are probably thinking is like, well, how come Stephon Diggs has had issues getting along with Josh Allen or whomever else? Why would you bring him in? I think because first and foremost, Stephon Diggs also has a reputation of a guy who competes his butt off in practice.
Yes.
So, like, that's by far the most important thing. Go back to the Seahawks and the Legion of Boom. They had guys on there that were some unique personalities, and I'm going to say unique in the most generous way possible, but they all were, like, super competitors. They wanted to compete their asses off all the time. And I think first and foremost, that's what D'Amico is trying to create. That's why C.J. Stroud wasn't just gifted the starting spot right off the bat last year. They want guys who want to compete, who aren't going to get personally offended by being asked to compete and all of that. And, yeah, that's like we've seen that with Will Anderson. That's exactly who he is.
Yeah, here was Will Anderson back on April 15th when the offseason program started. He and C.J. Stroud both met with the media, and Will was asked about players in free agency really taking a shine to the Houston Texans.
Yeah, it was a lot at the Pro Bowl, man. It was a lot of guys like, yeah, tell them I'm trying to come over there. Like, tell D'Amico I'm saying, but I'm like, Texas ain't for everybody, man. It's just it's a different type of DNA you have to play here, man. It's a different type of character you have to have, and you just gotta love football, man. And I think the front office and coach, they do a really good job of choosing the guys that they want to be in here that can help change the culture and help keep uplifting the culture and being a positive impact not only on the building but in the locker room as well.
So there you go. That was Will Anderson from 4 weeks ago today, just talking about, it's not for everybody. It's wild to hear players and coaches talking about the Texans this way after the way the last couple of years have gone. It's really, really cool to see.
If you didn't know the context, it almost sounded like you said Texas ain't for everybody, which actually felt a little bit like with Lassiter when Lassiter commented about how it didn't feel like it was 80 degrees out there. Yeah, there's a little bit of that. Maybe Houston, Texas specifically ain't for everybody either, because it's a shock to your system when you first feel that blend of heat, humidity, and pollution that you just don't quite get anywhere else.
Yeah, baby. Second most polluted air in the country, according to some measurements we went through last week. Yep. Yep.
Are you skeptical of those measurements, Sean?
No, you know me. I'm easily sold to. I think they're totally accurate. Yeah. It was
those plumes of smoke get carried out into the Gulf way faster than people
in an
think
email.
they do.
It was in an email from someone who looked official. So second behind the Inland Empire. This was funny.
A friend of mine was intrigued by your being surprised that Chicago was really polluted too.
Okay, I need names.
It was Jeff Farragher.
I explained. It was Farragher?
Yeah.
And Judas. It's my guy. It's your Notre Dame buddy. Farragher. I've never met you, but I hate you now, Farragher. How do you like that? There were some good cuts from the rookies. We're going to get to them a little later in the show. This one was funny because I'm going to get my observations here on rookie minicamp in just a second. This is how you know Kamari Lassiter is hyper-focused on just football. He didn't even know what the alma mater for his head coach was. He's had his head down that much. He didn't even he didn't even know. This is Kamari Lassiter, Georgia player, finding out that his coach went to Alabama.
Coach went to Bama?
Yeah.
No, I ain't know that. But those two programs, very high-profile programs, got a lot of the same, a lot of similarity. The standard I would say to Georgia is super high. It don't matter, how old you are. It don't matter how many years you play. The standard is the standard, and it's always going to be that. Coach Smart does a really good job of just making sure that everyone buys in, and I think that, Coach Ryan does a great job of doing that as well. And that probably comes from his background of being at, the other place.
The entertaining thing about that was that for somebody who's Kamari Lassiter's age, who was born in 2000 or so, 2002. He might not realize that Nick Saban. It wasn't like Bear Bryant and then Nick Saban.
Right.
You had a Dennis Franchione thrown in there.
Yeah.
but Mike Shula. That's who. Mike Shula was the culture that DeMeco Ryans played for. So I think a lot of people just assume that DeMeco is a Saban guy when in fact he was in the last year before Saban got there.
Do you think
for young people don't have an understanding that there was a time at Alabama before
Oh
Nick Saban.
yeah, Mike Dubose.
Yeah.
Remember they hired Mike Price? I don't think he coached a game because he got caught with some people who weren't his wife. After
Roll
a
Tide.
golf tournament.
Yeah.
Roll Tide. Yeah. Oh, it's rolling,
Yeah.
baby. Yeah. Yeah. Go Google it.
That was so long ago. Oh my God.
2003 or something like that. Yeah, it was crazy.
It's all business there, the big-time college football
That's
coach.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
So I went out to the Friday rookie sesh of rookie minicamp, and the first thing that jumps out at you is like, wow, this isn't like training camp. There's very few players out here. They had 9 drafted players, 6 undrafted free agents, and they had a handful of tryout bodies out there. A lot of them were at positions where they just didn't draft or sign anybody. Like, they didn't have a quarterback. So they brought in this kid from Georgia Southern, Davis Brin, and he was the one kid in a red jersey out there because they needed somebody who could throw a football to the receivers. Yeah. So and it's good for him. He basically got the equivalent of like a private lesson with Gerard Johnson for the day. It worked out fine for him.
Going to rookie minicamp is kind of like going to watch the warm-ups for a pro day or something. You can see how the guys move and maybe how they interact with their coaches a little bit, but it's a whole lot of education.
A lot of teaching.
It's like a private football clinic.
That's what it was, and I'm going to get to that part of it in a second. Honestly, the first thing that jumped out to me, Seth, I'm like, man, this is a weird feeling. What feels so weird? The weird feeling was this is the first rookie minicamp that we've had that's had the same coaching staff 2 years in a row since 2019.
Wow.
Since 2019. And the reason for that is that was, Bill O'Brien. Bill O'Brien at that point had been the coach for several years, but there was no rookie minicamp in 2020 because of COVID. 2021, that was David Culley's staff. 2022, that was Lovie Smith's staff. A few holdovers, obviously, but that was, it's a different head coach. 2023, DeMeco, and then obviously this year and hopefully many more years to come, DeMeco Ryan. So the continuity, I think that's been kind of a theme this offseason is the continuity. They were able to keep Bobby Slowick. They were able to keep a lot of the guys, Gerard Johnson. A lot of the staff remains intact. The ones that weren't there are ones that, by and large, the Texans didn't want to be here. They replaced them voluntarily. So I thought that was just to me, I don't think it's anything that necessarily impacted the performance of the rookies at minicamp, but as somebody who's covered the team for several years, and I think if you're a fan too, you just like hearing stuff like this, like, okay, like it's real. Now the roots are really starting to take shape with this staff. You know what I mean?
Right. If things are going the way they should go, theoretically, that you don't have to spend as much time coaching the veterans up on things, and the veterans can start to coach the younger guys a little bit.
Bingo.
And you get a cumulative effect where, you can do some next level stuff. I with the defense specifically, I think about last season where it really wasn't until the end of the year where the Texans started to disguise things more effectively in their secondary, the rotating safeties and doing all this other stuff to try to flummox, say, a Joe Flacco. They added that towards the end of the year when finally everybody started getting more comfortable in the defense. So hopefully you can start that from day one this year and build on it and be a more complex and multiple defense.
Yep. Number two, something you just touched on, the numbers basically allow all these guys to get private coaching sessions. Like Kamari Lassiter had like 3 or 4 coaches working with him, just like on technique and scheme and whatever else they do out there. Like Cade Stover was the only tight end out there.
One thing I noticed on YouTube, I was looking for some stuff, and like the clips. Highlights, I'll air quote highlights of rookie minicamp. A lot of guys, a lot of the big accounts will take local media like and kind of put it into a montage, and then they'll put a title like something like Lassiter destroys rookie minicamp. And I saw your footage pop up a lot. It was like you and Aaron Wilson's iPhone camera.
Yes.
Yeah, I recognized it from your Twitter, and so I'm watching him dominate these
the footwork drills. Yeah, the footwork, where they zigzag and they catch the ball at the end. Yeah.
This is another one I saw. Roma Dunze. They're like, how the hell did Roma Dunze not get drafted higher? And it's a shot of him going through the ladder drill, like and nothing remotely football related. So, but because of that, I don't know if this was your clip or Aaron Wilson's clip. It's Kamari Lassiter just doing a simple little back pedal drill, and then break forward, and somebody gunned the ball at him and he dropped it. And all the discussion was, you see, there you go.
Yeah.
Just his hands, no interceptions, he had a whole lot of broken passes up, but not as many interceptions as you might expect. He doesn't have the best hands, but that's why some guys play defensive back,
I'm still wrapping my head. Roma Dunze went 9th. And there
I know.
And there were 6 quarterbacks taken ahead of him.
It was
5.
The title was, how did Roma Dunze not go higher than where he did, or how did he fall to where he was? And it was him going through an agility ladder and then turning around a cone and catching a pass.
All right, I'm going to do these quickly because we're up against it. Body type observations. This is what the people are here for.
Yeah.
Lassiter and Stover both look ready to go. Like, they look like NFL players. Blake Fisher looks like he needs some time in an NFL weight room, maybe to kind of reapportion himself a little. He's a big dude, obviously.
He's a big, lanky guy. Who's just got to get some of his man muscles on there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Maybe the most jarring thing, Kalen Bullock has skinny little chicken legs. Like, really skinny legs.
Yeah, well, that's what, I mean, we've heard both Caserio and D'Amico say that he needs to get stronger.
Yeah.
And have said, I think both of them said that Bullock himself would tell you that. So it's not a big surprise or anything. Like, he's a guy that they look at as, I don't know if developmental is the right word, because I expect he's going to play a good chunk this year.
Yeah.
But for him to become the full football player they project him to be, they're expecting him to gain some muscle and some maturity.
Man, they are skinny little legs, man. They are skinny legs.
You don't think he's going to be up in the box all that much?
I think if he tries to tackle Derrick Henry, he's going to spontaneously combust. That's what I think. Yeah. He's
get folded over backwards.
Yes, he's a skinny dude. He's a skinny dude. By the way, one other body type thing, this undrafted free agent running back, this British Brooks, in addition to having a badass name, he's impressive looking, man. And maybe it's because he was standing next to Jawar Jordan a lot of the time. And Jawar Jordan's a smaller back.
Small, yeah,
that could have been. But, man, if you were just putting the two of them next to each other and said which one got drafted and which one was undrafted, without them running around, I would have said probably that guy right there with those big muscles got drafted. Yeah.
Can I ask you real quick, Feldarius Payne and Marcus Harris, Feldarius Payne, the undrafted rookie free agent, and Marcus Harris, a 7th-round pick, both undersized defensive linemen. Was Feldarius Payne noticeably smaller than Marcus Harris, or did they look about the same?
No, about
size?
the same. Marcus Harris looked like a big linebacker, actually.
Yeah, they're sleek.
Yeah,
sleek. They're not like tiny and meek looking.
Yeah,
they're they don't have a whole lot of mass to them.
Yep. Yeah, and Marcus Harris is wearing 59, so you immediately put that you have that brain thing going on with D'Amico and Whitney. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, Marcus.
Oh, yeah, sorry, D'Amico.
Yeah, respect. Well, you think of him as the head coach now. That's
you don't think of him as Kenyon Green?
Show of respect, definitely not.
So Kenyon, did Kenyon go through the official? Okay.
Official what?
Number change?
Yeah. He's 76 now. Yeah.
Was he last season?
He didn't play. He was 59 in training camp last season. He changed this offseason to 76.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. He's 76 now.
Was that widely broadcast or something?
No, it was on a tweet that had everybody's number changes on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, of course, yeah.
Did I sound like that?
Yes. Ask the text page.
Screw Farragher.
Did Sean sound
Screw
like
Farragher.
Yeah.
That's what I say. You know what I say? Screw Farragher.
Sean said, duh.
I got to go back and take a look now. Is Sean condescending when